is Brielle Oakley and I'm a realtor here in Dallas, and I make videos just like this one, giving you the inside scoop on Dallas's most popular neighborhoods and suburbs. This week we are talking about two of Dallas's most popular suburbs by far, Plano and Frisco. With highly rated schools, great neighborhoods, and lots of amenities, it's easy to see why these are the two most popular suburbs of Dallas. But that begs the question, which suburb is better? Well, the reality is it all depends on what you're looking for. So we're gonna break down these two suburbs on 4 criteria: affordability, schools, location, and amenities. So let's get into it. So let's cover affordability first. Which one is the cheaper suburb? Well, the median household income for Plano is about $95,000, while the median household income for Frisco is about $134,000. Now let's talk about the average housing price. And I think the best way to do this is to hop into some stats. So looking at this data here, we're gonna be comparing Plano, Frisco, Collin County, and Dallas County. Dallas County is always gonna be just a little bit lower than some of these northern suburbs. That's just the way it trends. And then Collin County includes parts of Plano and Frisco, as well as McKinney and a couple other suburbs here in the North Texas area. Now, fun fact, Frisco is actually split between Collin County and Denton County. So when you're comparing the 4 of these, I would say Plano is really on the same pace as Collin County. Crazy to look at these numbers going back to 2020 when all of these price points, the averages were in the 300s. And now they're sitting, 500 and above. So as you can see between Plano, which is in the blue here, and then Frisco, which is in the red, Frisco is trending a little bit higher than Plano here. So at the peak of the market in April 2022, the summer of 2022 was wild. We had bidding wars. People were going in over asking price, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 over the list price. It was a wild summer, full appraisal waivers. It was nuts. It was quite nuts. So at the height of the market, the average home price in Frisco was $760,000. Plano and Collin County was right around $550,000, and Dallas County was $370,000. Plano versus Frisco. Frisco is a little bit more expensive in housing prices than Plano. So all in all, Plano takes the cake for the cheaper suburb between Plano and Frisco. So since we're on the topic of housing, I gotta tell you the difference between houses in Plano versus Frisco. Plano does tend to be a little bit older than Frisco, and a lot of the builds here are between the 1950s and 1990s. So you have a lot of homes that have been completely renovated, completely gutted, while you have some other Plano homes that still need some renovating. But on the flip side, Plano has wide streets, mature trees, and typically larger lots than Frisco. Now, on the contrary, Frisco has a lot of newer homes, including a newer concept of subdivision that took off in the 60s called master plan communities. They really put a focus on amenities like pools, playgrounds, tennis courts, walking trails, and Frisco has quite a lot of them. But with master plan communities, you typically get smaller lots and your neighbors are pretty close together. If you prefer older homes, if you want a project, you want to renovate a house, I would say Plano is going to be a really great area for you to look at. If you're someone who prefers newer homes, then I would say Frisco is maybe a better option for you. But still, even in Frisco, there are some older homes that still need some updating. So if you are looking for brand new, walk-in ready, new build, like was built a couple months ago, then you're probably gonna be looking north of Frisco, above 380. So Prosper, Salina, Aubrey, Melissa, they're gonna have some new build options that are move-in ready. They don't need a thing. So now let's talk about these school ratings. So both of these districts are highly rated within DFW as a whole and are highly sought after for buyers prioritizing education. So a lot of my buyers who have relocated to this area or have moved to Plano and Frisco, they are drawn there by the schools. Between the two, it's really hard to compare apples to apples because they're both highly sought after for their school ratings. But since we are comparing, let's get into the details. So Frisco ISD, here's some quick stats. You've got about 74 schools. You're serving a little over 63,000 students. So overall, really good scores here. As you can see, the rating is 10 out of 10, which is in the top 5% of public schools in Texas. Now let's look at Plano. So some quick stats, you've got about 79 schools in Plano, serving a little over 50,000 students. The student-teacher ratio is 14:1. Overall rating is 9 out of 10, and they rank in the top 20%. So Frisco is in the top 5, and Plano is in the top 20% of schools in Texas. So overall, Frisco is the winner. Frisco has more highly rated schools with an A+ rating than Plano. Plano is not far behind, and both of these suburbs are very sought after for both of their school rankings. So now let's talk about the location of these two. They are actually next door neighbors, but they span a pretty big surface area of North Texas. Plano is situated 19 miles northeast of Dallas. You've got easy access to 75 and the tollway depending on where you are. If you're on the West Plano side, you're gonna drive the tollway more often. And then if you're on the east side of Plano, 75 is going to be your bread and butter for everywhere you're trying to go. You're about a 30-minute drive from downtown Plano to downtown Dallas, and about a 26-minute drive to the DFW airport. Frisco, a small part of Frisco lies in Denton County, while the majority of the city is in Collin County, like we mentioned earlier. You've got easy access to George Bush Tollway, the North Dallas Tollway, and Interstate 121. And then you're about a 35-minute drive from Frisco to downtown Dallas, and only about a 22-minute drive to DFW. So between the two of these, they're very close together, and because they cover such a big surface area, it really depends on where you are in these suburbs to determine how close you are to Dallas and to DFW airport. Most of the people relocating to DFW and the people who live within DFW, they want a max commute of about 35 minutes. If you are driving more than 35 minutes to work, it's gonna get old, I promise you. So take my word for it. Your max drive should really be just about 35 minutes unless you go into the office maybe one day a week. All that said, Frisco residents tend to commute about 3.6 minutes more than the residents in Plano, but I mean, 3 to 4 minutes, it's really not that big of a deal. I think ultimately it depends on what you want to be close to. So now let's talk about the lifestyle and amenities in both of these suburbs. Which one has the better amenities? Well, when it comes to outdoor activities, shopping, dining, and entertainment, I would say both of these cities have very similar lifestyles. Frisco lifestyle tends to revolve around sports franchises and the entertainment they bring. Frisco is home to 3 major sports venues: Toyota Stadium, the Star, and Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Now, there are also several shopping districts within Frisco and Plano, but my personal favorite for shopping would have to be Plano, and more specifically, West Plano. Frisco has some good box stores like TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Marshalls, Old Navy, that kind of thing. But I would say Plano is where you can find some good boutiques and some really good retail shopping. Some of my favorites are Legacy West, Shops at Legacy, and then the Shops at Willow Bend. And Legacy West and the Shops at Legacy, they're right on the border of Southern Frisco and then West Plano. You could almost argue that it's a little bit in Frisco as well, even though technically it's in Plano. So I think both cities definitely take advantage of the fact that Legacy West and Shops at Legacy are on its border. And I would say as far as dining options, Frisco and Plano have some really, really great spots, but I would say in terms of variety, I think Plano has a more diverse food scene if you're a foodie. So where should you buy? I think this will always be influenced by the current and future needs of you and your family. So here's some lifestyle questions to maybe ask yourself. Preferred commute time. So do you need to be close to DFW airport? Do you need to be close to Dallas or other hospitals? What is your ideal proximity to work or local attractions? The average here, like I was saying, in DFW is about 35 minutes. And then what are your educational needs? Do you need to be close to a college? Do you need to be close to a specific school? Do you want your kids to go to a specific school? These are all really good questions that you can ask yourself to kind of help determine which suburb is going to be right for you. And of course, if you have any questions about the suburbs here, their personality, give me a call or shoot me an email, and I would love to help you narrow down some options that are going to ideally fit you and your lifestyle. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a little bit of something about the difference between Plano and Frisco. If you think I missed something, or if you have an opinion on which suburb is better, please leave me a note down in the comments. I would love to see your opinion on Plano versus Frisco, and I will see you on the next video.